Take control of your growing company's finances with Bill Spend and Expense, the free-to-use spend management software powered by the Bill Divvy Corporate Card. With credit lines from $50,000 to $5 million, Bill Spend and Expense is here to help you thrive. Say goodbye to manual expense reports and juggling multiple cards, and say hello to saving time and eliminating wasteful spend. Try Bill Spend and Expense today at bill.com/promo500 and get $500. Terms and conditions apply. Advertised credit ranges are not guaranteed and are determined at approval. Card issued by Cross River Bank. Member FDIC.
The comfort of your favorite seat is now your comfy car selling command center, thanks to Carvana.
It doesn't get any better than this.
Your favorite seat's the best spot in the house. Make it even better by entering your license plate or VIN and getting a real offer in minutes.
There really is no place like home.
And speaking of home, Carvana will pick up your car from yours after you finalize your offer. Visit Carvana.com or download the app and sell your car from your comfy place.
The significance of blood is universal throughout human culture, a powerful symbol that can represent life, death, power, and a multitude of other meanings. Medical science has determined that there are 4 major blood groups, and within those, various subsets which determine the production of antigens in the body. Antigens are the body's defense system, marking what substances or toxins that enter our bodies that need to be destroyed. One antigen is responsible for determining whether a blood system is Rh positive or Rh negative. It has been alleged that those that possess the relatively rare Rh negative trait belong to a unique subgroup of humanity. Characteristics have been ascribed to this group, such as an increased occurrence of red hair, higher than average IQ, extra vertebrae, and even higher incidences of alien abductions. While some of the characteristics may be loosely connected, it is a known fact that a woman of Rh negative has a very high chance of complications during a pregnancy if she is carrying an Rh positive fetus. In these cases, it seems the body rejects the fetus as incompatible in some way. Could it be that Rh negative blood is a marker of some ancient hybridization, a remnant of extraterrestrial or metaphysical interference in the human gene pool? This case file, enjoy as the theorists have a bloody good time discussing the Rh negative factor.
Welcome to Alien Theorists Theorizing Case File 102. Rh negative blood type. I'm Braden.
I'm Dan.
I'm Andrew.
And guess what? The boys are unleashed. We ain't got no Zell to rein us in. We do whatever the fuck we want.
Nothing holding us back now. Sky's the limit.
Guess what?
We thought Potato Head.
Yeah. What's up? I'm gonna be popping those peas all day.
Pop that pussy.
I'm gonna breathe in, heavy breathing, whatever I want to do.
What else do we do? Oh, I'm going to be moving my mic around.
Yeah,
shuffling, moving it.
Shuffling papers, shuffling. I'm gonna lean back from the mic.
Sorry,
lean
I couldn't
forward.
hear you.
Lean back.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Lean forward. This is gonna be.
Saying?
You know he's gonna cut all this out.
Just gonna edit it all out at the end. Just yeah, okay, nice try, guys.
Yeah.
He's going to do a lot of editing because I got like 4 pages right now.
Well, Zell's gone. He's on tour with Lucky Monkeys. By the time you're getting to this case file, he'll probably be back. So
he'll probably have been back for a really long time.
Yeah, he'll be back for a while. But it's us unleashed. The trio of the trifecta of terror. Braden, Andrew, Dan. Well, we got some big stuff. Got Alien Con coming up. It's coming right down the pipe. So if you don't have your tickets already, go get your tickets. Promo code Theory gets you 10% off. Come see your boys. Live Power Hour. But let's get right into some space news.
I thought he was going to sneeze.
Wonderful.
A
You
little
guys can't see us right now, but we all have our shirts off.
except Dan.
I'm not taking my shirt off. This is
Take that
dumb.
shit off,
dumb.
Dan. Come on.
Nope. There's no reason to do that. It's absolutely no reason.
Grow up. Take your
Yeah.
It's not hot in here. It's like, and my chair is like faux leather. Like I'll stick to it and I'll start getting
Oh.
sweaty.
That
I'm
would
not
be
gonna do
great
that.
sounds for Zelly, though.
I don't need that.
All right, let's get into some space news. What I got here. Space Adventures reaches settlement with would-be lunar tourists. A guy, I guess a year ago, or a couple years ago, signed up for a company's proposed mission around the moon, and he gave a deposit. But later, he said, you know what? I don't really want to go. And so he wanted a refund of his deposit. Harold McPike was formally dismissed by the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of West Virginia Country Roads. Take me home. April 18th, according to court filings, the judge dismissed because the two sides reached an agreement outside of court. So it was a $7 million deposit he put down on a $150 million seat.
Who
On
is
a
this
mission.
guy?
Harold
Is
McPike,
he like
man. You've never
yeah,
heard of
Harold-
Harold? You, Dan, you of all people have never heard of Harold McPike?
No.
Shame on you,
You're not
Dan.
supposed to admit that. You're supposed to know.
Yeah.
Hashtag
Andrew.
Dan doesn't know.
And Andrew, drop some knowledge on Dan. What's McPike famous for?
Fucking McPike restaurant train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
McPike's.
Fucking good. McPike's. Yeah, it's great.
It's delicious. It's
It's good.
very
I love
northern Canadian
good.
McPike.
Yeah,
I have no
good.
idea. I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, what the hell is this guy doing that he can afford a $7 million deposit?
He's a successful quantitative trader and global private investor.
Oh, so he doesn't own McPike's.
You should.
I don't
Good.
think so.
You should.
Harold McPike.
Sounds like a guy that owns McPike's.
Yeah, you know what?
I don't know.
If
He's
I
the
was
founder of Think Global School. Oh no, that's a different guy. That's
I'd-
Joanne.
I'd
Peck.
open
Harold
a ro-
McPike. Is it Harold with an A?
Yeah. Is there a different Harold with an O?
Like you,
Harold?
yeah, if you spell Harold with an O, it might be Harold. I don't know if it's that. There are
Harold?
two ways to spell Harold's.
Listen, if I was there's like a
Harold.
chain. I don't know if you have it down in the States, Dan, but there's a steakhouse chain called Mr. Mike's, and I'd open a rival place called Mr. McPike's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right.
I like it. I'd go there.
Yeah, I'd wait. If there's Mr. Mike's beside Mr. McPike's, I'm going. Ooh, I'm going to Mr. McPike's every time.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't own any. He doesn't own any restaurants.
Are you? Well,
I don't know, Dan. Let's be honest. You didn't know to begin with.
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't buy it.
Well, maybe we could be wrong. I don't know. It sounds
doubt
like
it.
something.
I doubt it.
Sounds like
Um,
a super rich dude, though. Apparently, he's a. I guess some people label him as a secretive billionaire. Harold McPike.
I think Harold McPike needs his own podcast.
Yeah.
He may or may not own a 92-foot yacht. That's pretty sweet.
Eat your
I
heart
don't
out,
know.
yo.
He's fucking yeah. Just because I show you, there's way more rich people than you think there are.
I'm not one of them.
Yeah.
Fucking billionaires.
Me either.
Can't afford a shirt.
Not us.
As you can see, that's a new podcast or the Patreon. Say get Andrew a shirt, 50 cents a month. Goes towards.
As you pop up on my Skype stream, fucking half naked. Like that was fucking alarming, man.
At least
Especially
my camera.
especially with the contrast to the black background is just fucking glowing.
Yeah, it's just a white. It's just a
Oh,
big, a
Jesus.
large white.
They are quite pale.
Yeah,
That's a whole bunch of creamy beige.
yeah, yeah.
Like some kind of beached albino whale.
You like creamy Baileys?
This
Well, I'm a
Drink
tall
Baileys
drink.
from a shoe.
I'm a tall drink of it. What else I got here? I got oh, this thing's
tall
sketch.
drink of whole milk. Like
Yeah.
that's what it is.
2%.
Buddy, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? 2%? I'm half and half.
Like a tall drink of like Coffee Mate hazelnut.
Dan, you'll
French
love this
vanilla.
one. You'll love this one. This is from Discover Magazine. And I'm going to paraphrase, 2 neutron stars collide, forming a Pokemon known as Magnetar. I think that's what it is.
That makes sense. I have one of those.
Yeah.
It's good. Electric attacks are fucking dope.
Magnetar. What the fuck Pokemon is Magnetar?
I don't know. It sounds like a Pokemon. I
It's
just
not a
added that.
Magnetar. Magneton is the Pokemon.
Yeah, those ones that look like the little Pokeballs with the magnets on their head.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's the
no.
Magneton is the
Magneton.
3 of them. Is
All right,
3
then
of
I
them
don't
together,
really know what
which
this
evolves
is
into
either.
Magnezone. So if you have I forgot what it's called.
Okay, hold
Yeah,
on,
there's an
guys.
item.
I think we've talked enough podcasts to fool Zell. We won't check this far. Are we going to talk about DuckTales or what?
Yeah, no shit. Did you know they made a new DuckTales?
Yeah, I knew they made it. Apparently, it's supposed to be pretty good.
No, it is good. I've seen it. It's great.
Right.
I'm waiting
There-
for the fucking Darkwing Duck reboot.
That would be good because that was actually a good show.
That was better than. I like DuckTales a lot, but Darkwing Duck.
Darkwing Duck was pretty awesome. It's
Um,
also just like, it still doesn't make any sense. A Launchpad McQuack has not landed a plane. He hasn't landed a plane, right? Like that's his thing, right? He can't land a plane, and yet he works for a billionaire. Like, why would you
Well,
hire him?
And then
He
Yeah,
also works for.
And yet he could just fly. He's a bird.
He can fly. He can do the takeoff, but he can't
No, like
land a plane.
him himself, like he's a bird, though.
That also, what? No, but the ducks and DuckTales can't fly.
So it's a weird
much.
world we live in. So basically, it was caught on X-ray. 2 neutron stars form a Magnetar. I don't know what a really Magnetar. I
You
guess
you mean evolved into a Magnetar?
yeah, I think so.
Words you're looking for.
It's 6.6 billion light years away, and essentially it makes when they hit together, they make an incredible, powerful magnetic field known as a Magnetar. So that's some space news for you. What else do I got here? I got one other thing. China plans to build a base near the moon's south pole. So in about 10 years, China is planning to start construction on their South Pole lunar base. Long-term lunar plans are still sketchy, but they've made significant steps toward lunar exploration. So there we go. That's space news. You guys got any space news?
Nope, not of me. I'm good.
Well,
Have I ever had space news?
no, I don't think so. The only other thing I had is Earth is approaching a stream of debris from Halley's Comet, so you might be able to, I think it's called the Aqualids meteor shower. Is that it, Dan? You're laughing.
I'm sure
As
you
if I'm
pronounced that perfectly.
Pronouncing Aquarid? Aquarid?
Aquarids.
Aquarid?
Aquarids.
Aquarid. I'm going to take shit for that, too. I'm always making fun of my reading. That's it for space news.
Could
Let's
be
go.
Aquarids. Could be Aquarids.
Ooh, I got some news.
What's your news?
More of a tale.
Oh,
Happened to a friend of mine.
oh, cute Tales from the East Side theme music.
Ew!
I don't know if he's going to throw it in or not, but go for it.
He should, because it's badass. Okay, so obviously this happened to a friend of mine.
Obviously.
You know what I mean? No big deal. It's not. So whoever commented and said these stories are fucking gross, plug your ears. You won't like it.
Oh,
gross.
Yeah, spoiler alert. We got some sissies out there that were complaining that we need to, when we're going to talk about something gross, let you know. And we're letting you know. So
90% of the mongoose tales are going to be fucking gross.
Don't say we never listen to feedback.
Exactly. So, anyways, so somebody got called. Somebody I know, friend of mine,
yeah.
got called to a house for erratic behavior. That was the only description. We pull up to this like fucking giant apartment building. Looks like it's out of the Beverly Hills. Most beautiful apartment building I think I've ever seen. Hop in, top floor, penthouse suite.
With the penthouse?
It's the penthouse. Get up there, and this guy greases the door, and he's fucking just like sweating buckets. And like, first thing I noticed, pupils the size of fucking dinner plates. And he's like, listen, I just met this girl tonight. We popped acid. I don't know her name, but she's doing laps in my fucking house, flapping her wings like she's a bird. So I'm like, okay, that sounds pretty normal. So anyways, sure enough, we go in and she's running around flapping her wings, looking like a bird. Coax her to come into the fucking ambulance. Or get down to the elevator, get into the ambulance. Great. The whole time she's fucking just talking the most delirious, crazy shit. Everything's going well for now. You know what I mean? We get to start an IV on her, calm her down a little bit. And I'm surprised at the way everything's going. I'm like, this is going way too well. Like, you know what I mean? This shit's fucking way out to lunch. Rolling her into the hospital. 3 steps through the doors to emergency. She like flies off of the fucking cot. Like jumps right off the cot. Lands on the ground on all fours. Looks up at me, like sideways, looks up at me with her eyes, the fucking pupil size of dinner plates. Looks back down on the ground and just starts projectile vomiting. Like I'm talking like garden hose fucking vomit. Like just nonstop. And so after like a good 45 seconds of straight fucking vomit shooting out of her mouth, she's like looking at it on the ground and then just starts scooping it up with her hands and rubbing it all over her body. And then she's like fucking looking like she's in a dance music video, like break dancing in the fucking vomit on the ground in the middle of the merge, just like sliding around in it and rubbing her hair in it. And it was the fucking grossest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Did you give her a beat at least?
Oh man, I couldn't. Well, if you count fucking vomiting, everybody, like paramedics, nursing staff, guests, well, patients, not guests, everybody, like, it was like that scene on Stand By Me where everybody just starts fucking barfing. Like, it was the grossest fucking thing I've ever seen.
What scene in Stand By Me where everyone's barfing?
On the pie eating contest.
Like with the kids on the tracks
Yeah.
and find the dead body?
Yeah, am I thinking of the wrong movie?
I don't remember a projectile vomiting scene in Stand By Me, but
I
I
remember
mean,
a pie eating contest.
no,
I'm
me
thinking
neither.
I'm thinking of a movie where there's a pie eating contest and they fucking put Epicac or something like that in somebody's pie and everybody starts puking.
Okay, well, I'm saying Stand
what
By
movie is
Me.
that?
Stand By
I'm
Me
pretty
is
sure
like
that is not Stand By Me.
Stand By Me is like it's a good movie with like it's a wholesome movie with like serious like undertones, and that
It's like
just
a serious coming of age story.
yeah, and that scene does not seem like it fits. That seems like it would fit into the fucking Little Rascals.
That's it. No, that's what is it? Problem Child 2, where everybody starts puking on the ride. You guys remember that? You ever seen that movie?
Fuck
Oh
you
my
guys.
God. There's
Fuck
a part
you guys.
where they
It's
start
on-
vomiting.
Fuck
and
you
it's just like-
guys.
and it's just
Stand
like
By Me.
It's just like a fucking people start puking, and this one guy starts puking, and it's coming out in like a line, like a Play-Doh, just like.
Are you sure it's Stand By Me with like the two Corey Feldman?
Yeah, it's fucking lard ass. Come on now.
I just don't remember the puke scene. And
It's the blueberry pie scene where they all fucking barf on each other.
I don't. Okay, and I will give it to you.
I
that
guess it is Stand By Me, Barforama. That's a thing. Okay.
I haven't seen that movie in a long time. I just
Both you guys just sit back here and make me
just
feel like
don't
a fucking
remember that.
asshole. Fuck you guys.
it just doesn't sound. It doesn't sound like the Stand By Me I remember. I'm not saying that it couldn't be. I'm just saying.
I just didn't remember that part.
Motherfucking Mandela effect.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Gotta be.
That's interesting.
I mean, there's plenty of videos of it, I guess.
She breakdances, she's rubbing it in. Then what's going on?
She breakdances.
Breakdances in the barf, and then probably about 6 people, including nurses, start barfing.
Oh,
it was fucking gross. It was exactly like the scene from Stand By Me. Everybody just started puking. It was the grossest fucking place to be. Not that I know. Not that I know.
Yeah, is what you were told,
Heard.
though.
Yeah, exactly.
Whew. All right. Well, I also got a UFO case file of the week. Where's it?
You got to plug in the randomatron or what?
No, I'm just gonna read it from this book this time since the randomatron's with Zell. So I'll just pull out this book, and I picked one. The problem is I used to use this book, and then I never marked which ones we've done. And sometimes I read some and I go, have I read this one on air before, or have I read this one before because I've read through this book? So that's the real hard part for me. It's because sometimes they're familiar, and I don't know if it's familiar because I've read it on the podcast or the book. But here we go.
It's like, well, we do have these like this advanced technology called a ballpoint pen.
Yeah.
Which you can use.
Yeah.
To make markings.
Yeah.
In book on paper.
Yeah.
Which the books are made of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
And your
We
point.
might have to get one of those.
And your point is, Dan? All right. This is Godfrey P.C. Allen. So Allen P.C. Godfrey. In the early hours of the 29th of November, 1980, Police Constable Alan Godfrey in Todmorden, Lancashire?
You got me on the morning.
Lancashire?
Lancashire? Is that how? Lancashire?
Lincolnshire.
Lancashire? I'm just going to call it the Shire from now on.
I like that.
Yes.
Yeah. So Jeffrey at Todmorden from the Shire experienced a UFO and abduction event. Driving his police car, Godfrey encountered what he at first thought was a bus, which had slid sideways across the road. As he approached to within 60 feet of it, he realized it was more anomalous. Some 20 feet wide and 14 feet high, and shaped like a diamond. He recognized a bank of windows in it, and the bottom half of it was rotating. Most significantly, he noticed it was hovering at about 5 feet off the ground. The object seems to have cut out his police car radio, so he was unable to report the object. Godfrey, always the quick thinker, sketched it onto his clipboard. There appears to be a strong suggestion of missing time and spatial dislocation, as Godfrey then found himself approximately 100 yards down the road, and the UFO was gone. Under hypnotic regression, Godfrey recounted a strange and exotic story of having been abducted aboard the UFO. Let me tell you something. If it's going to be strange, I like when it's paired with exotic. That's for sure. On board the UFO, he apparently found himself in a room on a table with a tall, bearded man looking down at him. He reported other creatures of bizarre appearance in the room, and also the entry of a large dog. Where's this exotic tale going? There was some evidence of examination by the entities before Godfrey found himself back in his police car. One interesting point arose in regression. He referred to the tall human-like entity as Joseph. Aliens generally do not give their names to abductees, unlike the claims of the contactees. And it is worthy of note that one of the investigative team undertaking the regression hypnosis was named Joseph, suggesting there may have been some leak of external influence into the subconscious recall. To be fair to the investigative team involved, it must be stated that they do not share that opinion. Godfrey displays an intelligent and unbiased attitude towards the incident, stating that he remains uncertain as to what actually happened to him during the period of missing time, and he admits that some of the abduction material may be fantasy. None of this suggests that the event or experience was unreal, but it is indicative of honesty and reasonableness on Godfrey's part. What horseshit is that? How can you lead a story? That's it. How can you lead a story and be like, this is going to take strange and exotic? And then you describe it, you're like, there's a tall bearded man and some other crazy creatures. And then they let in a dog. Okay, what else? Like, you can't give me that and not give me the juicy details of the strange and exotic adventure.
Shit got too weird, man.
He could only recall it under hypnotic regression. So, I mean, maybe there wasn't all that much to remember. You know, it's probably incomplete. Can't remember everything. Hypnotic regression isn't like a 100%. Actually, it's not even like, I think most of it's actually been disproved, but.
So what you're saying is it's not 100%, maybe 0% is what you're saying?
Yeah, it's somewhere between 0 and 100%.
Perfect.
0 and 50%.
All right. Well, let's get into today's case file. We get a lot of requests for this. The RH negative blood controversy. Yeah. Well,
Yeah. So, as our resident medical expert, Andrew's here to tell us everything, the entire history
Whoa.
Of
of
blood.
human blood.
Yeah.
I'll tell you everything I learned in my 2 years of fucking paramedic training. Crash course. So here's the thing about blood. You need it to live.
And it's in you to give.
Yeah,
It
there
has
you go.
to stay on the inside.
Yeah.
It's good if it's on the inside. That's where it should be. If it's on the outside, that's bad.
So, as the majority of people that listen to this podcast know, I'm not great at the fucking woo-woo shit. So I'll leave that to you guys. All the midichlorian Jedi blood shit. I'm gonna leave that for you guys because I you know what I mean. I tried I started watching YouTube videos, and next thing you know, I was learning about hiding God and flat Earth and shit again. So I'm just gonna stick to what I know here. So let me break it down. As most of you guys will probably already know, this is super basic stuff, but every one of us has one of 4 major blood types, right? You got A, you got B, and you got AB, and you got O, right? Obviously, we got the positive and the negatives too. These blood types are determined by the types of antigens on the erythrocyte or the blood cell, right? So we got our red blood cell, our erythrocyte. It's either A, B, AB, or O, right? The antigen, what I was just talking about, I don't know if you guys know what an antigen is, but basically what an antigen does is whenever a harmful substance enters the body, like the common cold or a virus, the antigen elicits an immune response, right? So the antibodies are what are going to fight and help you prevent these viruses.
I always
diseases.
remember like an episode of Magic School Bus where like the antigens were these little like crosses and they would stick to the
The
disease.
little Y
And then
sticks,
the white-
like the little stick.
Yeah, and then the white blood cells would come like trotting in and be like, fucking hammer them.
But if it wasn't for Miss Frizzo, I probably wouldn't have passed school.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'm just saying that's how I know what an antigen is from Magic School Bus.
So back to the antigens. The antigens are proteins on the surface of the erythrocyte, which brings us to the RH factor. Right? That's what this whole podcast is about, right?
Yeah.
The rhesus factor, I guess is what the proper name for it. So the RH factor or the rhesus factor is a different protein on the surface of the erythrocyte. Now, most of us that have the RH factor are RH positive. And then there's a very few minority of us that have this protein that's RH negative. And that like pretty much amounts to about 15% of the population, like out of everybody. So obviously super rare. And like, as you guys already probably know, you know what I mean? Like you can't give a person, so you got type A blood. We can't give you type B blood, right? Because your body's going to reject it. You're probably going to go into kidney failure. You're going to have clotting disorders. You're going to go into shock, right?
Yeah. It's going to be bad
So-
for everyone.
Unless you're AB or O, which, I think I can't remember. It's AB negative is universal. AB can take both A and B. But if you're RH positive, again, you can take all different types of blood, right? That are like your A or your B. If you're RH negative, which is that rare 15%, you have to get blood from somebody else who's RH negative, or you're going to have those exact same diseases, right? And it gets even crazier with pregnancy, right? So if you're pregnant and the mother is RH negative and the baby is RH positive, the mother's blood will reject the baby, right? It's crazy. It has the exact same. The mother's blood takes that baby and thinks it is a harmful substance in her body and fights it off just like it would a virus or, you know what I mean, a disease. And I think it's around 28 weeks when the mother has to go get her blood tested to find out if she has the RH negative. And we do now have, I forget the name of the shot, but you can get it that prevents it. But it's pretty crazy shit.
So
Yeah. That's
Now-
basically a rundown.
now that we need it, so a lot of people believe that this rare blood type is, alien hybrid blood, or it's linked to, they say many of the most successful people and like they call it the royal bloodline, because all these like big, all these powerful people have this blood type. And they said this blood type is, I've read things where it says it's attributed to like, psychopathic tendencies and like multiple personality disorders and stuff like that. And I hate to say it, but then you look at it and you're like, you say all this, but I'm like, it lists some names of people and you're like, well, unfortunately, like I'd love to take your word for it, but it's like, it doesn't really go into any kind of proof of that. It's so like, this is a rare blood type. We know it's a rare blood type. I don't understand really why people believe that that it's right to alien.
Well, that's a big issue I have too, because I'm trying to do research, and the fucking quack shit that pops up. It's like every famous person ever has the Rh negative. Every president of the United States is Rh negative. Every professional athlete is Rh negative. I'm like, that makes up way more than 15% of the world right there.
Well, and I'm like, substantiate that claim, and then you can't find anything.
There's a couple links that are true, that have some sort of science backing. Is the fact that these people are more prone to low blood pressure, and they have a higher resistance to toxoplasmosis. And I don't like. You guys know what toxoplasmosis is? I'm sure Dan does.
I have not a fucking clue.
I do.
Growing businesses and finance professionals, you need Bill Spend and Expense, the free-to-use spend management software. It's powered by the Bill Divvy Corporate Card, which helps growing companies scale with credit lines of $500 to $15 million, automated expense reports, and as many virtual cards as you need. For a limited time, get $500 when you get started with Bill Spend and Expense. Request a demo at bill.com/get500. Terms and conditions apply. Advertised credit ranges are not guaranteed and are determined at approval. Card issued by Cross River Bank, member FDIC.
The comfort of your favorite seat is now your comfy car selling command center, thanks to Carvana.
It doesn't get any better than this.
Your favorite seat's the best spot in the house. Make it even better by entering your license plate or VIN and getting a real offer in minutes.
There really is no place like home.
And speaking of home, Carvana will pick up your car from yours after you finalize your offer. Visit Carvana.com or download the app and sell your car from your comfy place.
Yeah, Dan, I'm sure I'll bastardize it. Dan can correct me, but from what I understand, it's the cat poo disease.
Mm-hmm.
What?
So there's this, whatever, I don't even know what you call it, Dan. What would you call it? Like a protein in cat shit that
No, it's a parasite.
Or it's a parasite in cat shit that attracts mice to it. So these mice get attracted to the cat shit. They get like it elicits like a sexual response from what I was reading. So the cats get, or the mice get turned on by it, attracted to it. So it brings mice to cat shit and cat urine. So it attracts it to them. So it brings the mice to their fucking demise because they're not scared of the fucking cat. Because they're too fired up. And with people, we can, if we handle litter boxes and stuff like that, that's why they say pregnant women aren't supposed to change cat litter, because it can get transferred to the baby, and it's shown like people who grow up with toxoplasmosis, they're more prone to be risk takers and die in like motorcycle accidents. And
Also visual impairment, like potential blindness, which doesn't show up. It doesn't show up during like in utero, like while they're still in the womb, like they can't tell. It's not until they get older, like I think like 2 years of age or something like that, they can actually like lose vision. You won't see anything until then.
There's like a staggering amount, like the percentages of people who die in like fucking what's the word? Like thrill seekers, people who are in motorcycle accidents, all that type of shit. It's like an alarming amount of those people have toxoplasmosis. It's pretty crazy.
So they're just like have too many cats, potentially.
What?
Right? That's from the cat poo?
Yeah, well, you. That's how we know we get.
That's one of the ways to get toxoplasmosis. The parasite is also can be transmitted through uncooked or raw meat. So if you go to a place, like it's actually pretty prevalent or relatively prevalent in places like France, where they do consume, uncooked meat, beef tartare and whatever stuff like that. So that can happen. If you're infected with toxoplasmosis, I think they said somewhere between like 22 and 27% of people in the United States are actually infected with toxoplasmosis, the parasite, but it doesn't really do anything. Like it kind of just hangs out, and if it does have any effect, the effect is like so minimal, and it's so it's not expressive or anything that you can't really tell. And there's one working theory that at least one I think one scientist was working on, that the Rh negative trait was kind of like in response to, it may have evolved as a kind of way to either avoid or combat like toxoplasmosis, something like that.
I'd bet all the money in my bank account that Mr. Conspiracy has toxoplasmosis. 100%.
Well, if you do have toxoplasmosis, I think a lot of the
it's because when he was younger, he was eating cat shit. No, I'm kidding.
Symptoms of toxoplasmosis I know include things like fatigue, let's see, like pain, fever, and enlarged neck or lymph nodes. So it's like anything,
Well, yeah, there's plenty of people who live with it that don't even know they have it. Like they're not, they're completely asymptomatic.
Yeah, it's not going to kill you. I've heard really crazy stuff about toxoplasmosis where it's like, yeah, there is the whole thing where it makes like it elicits some type of like sexual response, or it increases, libido or something like that, and it messes with your mind. Like it actually, I'm pretty sure there's a theory where they say like toxoplasmosis affects your actual brain chemistry and does make you prone to taking more risks or stuff like that. They've done at least one study, I know, through I think it was the Albert Einstein University of Medicine in Europe, and they had done a study of the effects of toxoplasmosis, like people who were infected with toxoplasmosis, like Rh positive versus Rh negative, and they did a kind of an experiment with like strength testing using like hand exercises or something like that. And they said that one kind of surprising thing was that the Rh negative people seemed more the test results seemed to point to the fact that at least halfway, that people with Rh negative were affected more by toxoplasmosis. Like they had more fatigue when they were doing these exercises. But they also noted that surprisingly, the people who are Rh positive, have the Rh positive blood type, they actually showed increased endurance in these tests, which was really strange. They didn't see that one coming. That was a surprise.
Wow.
So either the Rh positive thing, I mean, from that, you could be like the Rh positive thing was something that adapted, it's a protein that adapted, or it was a mutation somewhere along the human genome, where it was like, it took this parasite, like this parasite's always infecting everybody. Maybe it was a lot more prevalent back in the Stone Age, or when humans were evolving, and it became a problem, and it was like, okay, well, why don't we just turn the negative into a positive? It's like, well,
maybe when we were intermingling with Neanderthals.
Also a possibility.
Right?
It just from everything I've read, though, I'm like, I still don't understand, like, that people are like, wow, it's alien blood, like they're hybrids, and I'm like, I don't make that leap. I'm like, yeah, there's a rare blood type, but I'm like, there's people that have way rarer adaptations than that. There's people out there that grow hair on every part of their body. They look like wolfmen. People are like, the wolfmen, that's alien hybrids. You're like, that to me, I'm like, that's crazier than having some like blood that fights cat poo.
Well, there's other cool things about it too. Like there's a staggering majority of people who have this Rh negative blood that are in Europe, like nowhere else. Like it's got the highest population of people with Rh negative blood. It's the people of Basque descent. Is that right, Dan?
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's that's pretty cool. Like I can get on board with that.
I'd have to see the numbers on that because I saw that claim, but I'm not 100% sure because everybody loves, like, a lot of conspiracy theorists and alien theorists. They always love to link stuff to the Basque people just because their language, like linguistically, is difficult to trace the origins to. It's not Spanish. It's not French. It doesn't come from the language family that's in Europe. And it doesn't seem to come from the language family that's like Indo-European or any of the Asian things. It just seems strange. So everybody loves to pin everything on the Basque people,
Yeah, that's pretty cool though.
But I don't know if they actually are Rh negative. And if they are, it's like there's a large concentration of them. What about the people in the general vicinity of that area? Because I mean, there's probably more people who are Rh negative. I'm pretty sure the big consensus on this for scientists is that Rh negative was it's a mutation. And though it is exceedingly rare, it's not really any more rare than people with red hair.
There's another thing I was reading that people with red hair are more prone to have Rh negative blood.
Yeah, I saw that. Was
there's
one
all
of the
kinds of
traits,
weird
too.
stuff about people with red hair, how they're not, what is it? It takes like twice as much anesthesia to knock them out. Like they're a lot more, like they're really sensitive to pain, which is an actual thing. I really didn't, I never knew that,
Yeah.
So,
Open your bitches.
Yeah.
So there is that kind of stuff that's going on, but I don't think it's really, when people are like, oh, there's only so many percent, 15% of people who have this, but I'm like, yeah, that's actually like a really big number because 15% of a population of one place, like that's still like 100,000 people. That's still like 100,000 people. That's still a lot of people.
Well, did you guys get into any of that shit linking it to Moses?
No, because as soon as they started doing that, I threw my hands up and I went, no, there isn't enough when you scratch the surface for me to start looking up Moses. So
come on, boys.
Let's hear it though. Did
you know they're just trying to hide God? You know it.
Well, I read that it's a universal caregiver from way back when, and it's the powerful elite trying to eliminate the last of the God bloodline, and I'm like, okay, what am I reading?
I don't think so because it's pretty widespread. It's not. It might be more prevalent in some areas, but it's still a lot of people have it all over the world.
If the Bible story is right, wouldn't we all be Rh negative then? Didn't
no, because we have there's still mutations in your blood. Like there's still just random mutations that still happens.
But what I'm saying, like, didn't the flood wipe everybody else out other than Moses' family?
Yeah, but even if that were the case, I'm still saying it. You'd still have
the mutation
that what is that, 6,000 years ago? If you go with the flood thing, it's like, what is that, 6,000 years?
Or it just never happened.
I think it's 6,000. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 6,000 years ago by their reckoning. And so even in 6,000 years, there'd still be plenty of mutation. You'd still have things. That's 6,000 years is like, no, that's like nothing.
The other shit I don't understand is like, why are they so big on this hiding God thing? Like, hey, if you want to believe in God, by all means, but who the hell's trying to hide it? I got people knocking on my fucking door all the time trying to talk to me about God. Everywhere I drive, I see big buildings dedicated to God. He ain't being hidden, man. He's getting jammed down your fucking throat.
Yeah, I never understand that argument either.
I don't
it's
get
like
it.
They're like I'm like, I don't make the connection to this blood type. Be like, okay, anytime everything I was watching and reading, I was like, no, these, like, what it is this is like a very good like YouTube. If you've let your YouTube run for 6, you've been watching some conspiracy and it's on like video 7 and you haven't really been paying attention and now it's on Rh negative blood. And you're like, I'm just going to listen to whatever this guy says and 100% go with it. And then it's a good one.
It's a real good example of one of those theories that kind of pops up about things that are just like, you don't know. We really don't understand it yet. Rh negative blood, like nobody really knows what it does and why we have it. But there's tons of things in our genetic code that we don't know what the genes are for. Like we've mapped out the entire human genome, like we know which each genes, but we don't know how they interact. We don't know how a lot of them interact with each other. There's a lot of parts where people say there's parts of our genetic code that are inactive, right? So like our our genetic code, from what I understand, like DNA it's like an archive. So it even, you know, they found parts of like they archive that the DNA archives, like, you know, your resistances against viruses, any types of like diseases or things that happens. It's like hard coded in there, you know. And so there's plenty of parts of things about our body that we don't really understand yet. And it's just kind of a bummer that it's like Rh negative for most of the thing, except for pregnancy, it doesn't really affect your daily life. So that way people aren't really interested in it. You know, study isn't really worthwhile. So it's like you never really, we probably won't really understand where it comes from ever or why we have it.
I just, well said, but I still think that when people are like jumping on these kind of mutations, I'm like, who gives a fuck about the blood? There's way cooler mutations. There's fucking kids off the west coast of Thailand that can see underwater crystal clear because they've adapted, because they spend so much time underwater that their eyes, they can change their lenses with a flex. And to see underwater, I'm like, that's way cooler. That's way fucking cooler than having some cat poo blood.
Could you imagine getting, you get your fucking letter, you get invited to fucking Professor X's mansion, and everybody's lining up like, what's your power, man? Oh, man, I got Rh negative blood. Think about how disappointing that would be.
Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, man. What the fuck are you gonna do
I
with
can
that?
shoot lasers out of my eyeballs. Like, what is
You know
this?
what?
What do you
Cat
do?
poo doesn't fuck with me, dude.
I'll
clean all
that
the
litter.
cat litters.
I'll do it.
Skirt. That's the only reason you get invited to the X mansion.
We'll call
Clean.
you. We'll call you when we have to fight Litter Box Man.
Hey,
Like,
sorry, man. Sorry, we had to invite somebody to clean up after Beast. That's your job. That's what you're doing.
Clean beast litter.
Yeah.
Dr. Hank McCoy poops in a litter box. Everybody, you heard it here.
Dr. Hank McCoy is probably the person who made up this Rh negative bullshit so he could convince somebody to clean up his shit. No, good, man. That's your special power. You're good at that. Only you.
So how do you think? So the real question is, how do you think Rh negative or Rh the antigen for whatever, the Rh antigen affects the flavor of the blood for vampires? Does it make it more desirable or does it make it less palatable?
Well, I can tell you right now, it gives you a nice blue tinge, right? So it gives you maybe it tastes a little bit more like Hawaiian punch. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I think
So would it be more of an after dinner blood, or would it be, you know, something that you might have like during midday, maybe with lunch?
I'm thinking like a brunch blood.
Like an early morning.
Yeah, you've had
like
breakfast.
Champagne.
You've already had an AB. You know, now you've eaten, and now you're gonna have a little Rh negative.
the
Something-
AB
you
is
give
the
it a little
steak
bit
and
of
the
lighter,
potatoes.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
the
little lighter.
AB's hearty. It's a steak and potatoes blood, you know? And you want to finish it off with a nice fucking Rh negative.
Yeah.
Speaking of vampires, I don't
Well, I
want to
would
get off
assume it
topic.
would be some type of like, it would be like a rare vintage, I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
know?
It's only 15%.
Ooh,
So it'd be
yeah.
something you'd pull
You
out
gotta
at like a big party.
You got to
Yeah,
sniff it.
I suppose.
You know what I mean? You got to give it a little smell and swirl it around a bit, be all pretentious with your fucking pinky out.
Yeah, it smells like cat shit. That's how you know it's good.
Speaking of vampires, have you guys seen What We Do in the Shadows?
Yeah, I've seen it.
This is the fucking greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's really funny.
Anybody in the audience hasn't seen it? Fucking watch that shit.
I haven't seen it. I'll have to jump on
Werewolves,
it.
not swearwolves.
It fucking kills you, man. It's got the guy who directed Thor Ragnarok. He's in it, and Jermaine from Flight of the Conchords
Oh yeah. I've seen
and Murray.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen it on Netflix. There, I just haven't
Oh,
watched it.
dude, it's fucking amazing. It's
pretty funny.
It's one of the funniest shows I've ever seen.
And okay, the last thing I have to say about Rh negative blood is people are like, well, Rh negative blood type is more prone to alien abductions, and I'm like,
What?
that is a bold ass claim
Where do
with
you get
no.
that? Yeah, where do you get that
I'm like-
data from?
I'm like, where? Okay, first you're gonna have to show me a list of anyone who claims to be abducted, and secondly, then show me their blood types, both of which you cannot find anywhere. So,
Well, like again, this is 15% of the population, and yet it's more the people who are most prone to alien abduction. Everybody who's been fucking president of the United States, most professional athletes, most fucking actors are like, it doesn't make sense. You got way too many people here.
This one, like, final thoughts on it for me, I'm like, I just don't think there's any conspiracy. I think it's just a mutation, and it's a rare one, but I don't think it has anything to do with, like, aliens genetically modified, because I'm like, if aliens were tampering, I think you'd have a little bit more pros than fucking being able to scoop the litter.
Well, that's the only proven or potentially proven benefit. They're saying you got...
That's a theory. It's a working theory. It's not even, it's not proven, and I don't think they've done enough studies to actually make a conclusion.
So what you're saying is they might not be any better at scooping cat shit.
Right. It might not be any better. There hasn't been enough study, and there hasn't been enough data collected to really make a conclusion as to why we have the Rh antigen, what it does or what it really does. The only thing we know is that it reacts, if you're Rh negative, it reacts.
So what you're saying with that is it could be like a leftover, like your fucking gallbladder, where you're like, it probably had a purpose at one point. We don't really know what it does now. It just sits there. You might have to get it removed.
It's like your appendix. Some people keep their appendix. Some people get infected, and you have to take it out.
I think you mean appendix, not.
Did I? I don't know.
Yeah, I think you mean.
No, some people lose it. Some people got to take their gallbladder out.
Yeah,
sometimes,
but you don't necessarily like it's. You don't need it, but it has.
What does your gallbladder do?
Emulsifies fats and meats.
Oh, well, there you go. So appendix.
Well, so despite what the fucking YouTube professionals tell you, it doesn't turn you into a superhuman and guarantee you a job as president of the United States or actor or movie star or alien abductee.
But it will make you more desirable to vampires.
There you go. Wine punch.
But that's, we didn't really talk to any vampires for this show, so we don't really know. That's a bold claim by us, so we're just as bad as everyone else.
We got some fucking vampires listening. There's some fucking vampires on our Discord. I bet you anything.
All right, let's get some 5-star reviews. Let's wrap this one up. We got a couple. That was I opened it and the first one I got was a bad review, and I was like, "Well, that's."
Read it.
No, I will read it after. And it's not.
Okay.
It's a 4-star review, but it's a little critical. We don't read 4 stars. We only read 5 stars. All right, hold on. Now my computer's wants to lag here. All right, there's an error with this webpage. Perfect. Excellent. Those are your 5-star reviews. Thanks, everyone.
That's a good review. Error on this webpage.
Well done, Braden. Thank you. Any other things you got to plug?
Negative. I got nothing. As usual.
If you let me tell you something. I'll give you a little sneak.
Let me tell you something, brother.
Let me tell you something, brothers.
Let me tell you something.
Case File 103, we got a good one. We got a live one that we found we weren't really ready to do because it's got so much meat to it. So 103 coming at you next week. Wait for that one. It's going to be good. I got nothing else to say. You can find us on Patreon. We got tons of stuff on there. Help the show. We are ad-free. We always will be. We're supported by you guys. So you like what we do, go support us. Anything helps. And as we always say at the end of these things, keep those eyes on the skies.
The comfort of your favorite seat is now your comfy car selling command center, thanks to Carvana.
It doesn't get any better than this.
Your favorite seat's the best spot in the house. Make it even better by entering your license plate or VIN and getting a real offer in minutes.
There really is no place like home.
And speaking of home, Carvana will pick up your car from yours after you finalize your offer. Visit Carvana.com or download the app and sell your car from your comfy place. That's not just the sound of that first sip of Morning Joe. It's the sound of someone shopping for a car on Carvana from the comfort of home.
That's a good blend.
It's time to take it easy, like answering some easy questions to get pre-qualified for a car in minutes.
Talk about starting the morning right.
Just like customizing your terms so your car fits your budget. Visit Carvana.com or download the app to experience car shopping the way it should be. Convenient, comfortable. Ah.